So it was really seamless transferring over to Audacity Capital and having to trade within a certain parameters.
So I'll just get started by saying who I am and what I'm doing today. So my name is Leah from the PR department of AudaCity Capital, and at the moment we're just conducting a few interviews with our traders just to find out a bit more about their journey and how they got interested in trading.
Okay.
So my first question for you is just to introduce yourself and then explain where it all started and how you got interested in trading in the first place.
Okay, certainly. So my name is Alex Leanhart. So I'm currently the swing trading educator and proprietary funding expert for Simple Trading Solutions. So essentially, we are a mentorship group that we help aspiring traders develop a trade plan, develop discipline, coming from different avenues where they may not have had success before trading to really get that consistency down that they have been searching for in order to potentially get funding capital. So for me, my journey started essentially around 2016. I started trading in the stock market, was really interested in getting into the financial markets, but ideally I didn't know about Forex. That's why I first started. But then I realized that as a day trader, you need substantial amount of capital to begin with. So I didn't have that. So then I started doing research. Then I discovered Forex. And then at that time, then I decided to get my feet wet. And then I've been in the industry for about going on 5 years. And I got really interested as a way to help pay my way through school because I was currently going through school at that time. So it was a way to actually help alleviate some of the bills. And that's how I ended up getting involved and been in it ever since.
Great, that sounds really interesting. So did you, I know you said that you got into the industry because you wanted to pay off something related to school, but did you have, was your education around Forex or trading, or did you learn from a mentor by yourself, any courses? Basically, how did you learn how to trade?
So my schooling was completely unrelated to anything financial related. I went to school for nursing, so I was going to be a healthcare professional originally before I got interested into Forex. So really, it was more I went and learned myself. There wasn't really any specific person towards the beginning of my journey, so I did a lot of reading into books, looking on YouTube, bouncing from group to group, really trying to find my way of actually learning. So for the past 4 years of my original journey, I was unsuccessful. I wasn't really getting the consistency that I was looking for. And it wasn't until September of 2019 where I eventually ended up meeting my mentor, Ken, who finally gave me that little push, that little missing ingredient that I was needing in terms of, developing myself to be a consistent trader. And then afterwards, from then until now, I finally gotten the consistency and profitability as a trader. So I started off self-taught, and then I ultimately ended up finding my mentor who gave me the final push to be the trader that I am today.
Great. Yeah, I think most people do what you do, or from my experience of the people that I've talked to, anyways, they don't come from any sort of trading background. I've heard people come from, like you said, like nursing, film, engineering, other things like that. And then they start off by teaching themselves, and whatever way they branch out to with a mentor or continue themselves, they become really profitable traders. So it's always great to see that someone has a dedication to that. So that's really great to hear.
Thank you.
Um, and you're on the funded trader program with Audacity Capital, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So how's that been for you so far? And do you have any feedback? Do you like it? How's your trading been?
So I really enjoyed. So before Audacity Capital, before I got involved with the Funder Traded program and got funded, I had already been managing capital from other firms. So I already have vast experience in terms of managing capital and having to trade within a certain limits for lots and risks. So it was really seamless transferring over to Audacity Capital and having to trade within a certain parameters. And I really enjoy it. By nature, I'm a conservative trader, so I don't risk that much. So I'm always never worried about over leveraging, over trading, and then I just make sure I take one trade at a time and never worried about losing the account or anything like that. So my experience has been wonderful, and I definitely recommend it for people that there's other opportunities out there to get funding, but for here, you can jump straight in, and the service is wonderful.
Perfect. I'm so glad you're enjoying it, and it seems to be really working for you as well. I think some people really struggle with our leverage and lot size, but that seems to be working great for you. So that's really great to hear.
Mhm.
And my last question is a little bit of a tricky one, but I ask it to everyone that I interview. And it
Okay.
is, what is the best advice you could give to someone who's just starting their trading journey? So this may be something that you might have would have liked to heard whenever you started your trading journey, or something that you found really beneficial that really changed your trading style, anything like that.
Yeah, certainly. So I actually have three different keys of advice that I like to give to people, especially what I've developed through my trading journey. So the first one would be, I typically like to tell people, especially new traders, to not get into trading, think about making money. And it's kind of counterintuitive to think about not getting into the industry to make money, because we get into trade to make money. And then the reason why is because when people get into trading to think about the money, instead of developing the skill set, they start thinking about, I need to make a certain amount of money at a given time, or I need to make this during this time to be able to pay the bills. And then what ends up happening is, as they start trading with emotion, they start trading with that feel that I need to make something such and such instead of objectively. And then what happens is, like I mentioned, when you trade with emotion, you don't trade objectively. And what happens is your discipline suffers. Now what ends up happening is, before a trader actually enters into the market, they've psychologically put up a lot of roadblocks before they even take into account what the market is doing. So ideally for new traders, it would be good to focus developing the skill set first, because the money will come. For example, with AudaCity Capital, if you have the skill sets, the strategy, and the risk, the money will follow. It's just all about implementing it. What I like to tell people is, trading is really 90% psychological, 10% system. You could have a system that works. All you have to do is duplicate it. But then what are you going to do while you implement it? How do you feel on a certain day, emotional wise? And then if you trade with emotion and not have discipline, then that system, you could have the best system in the world, but it will suffer. So that's my one advice. So the second one would be to have a trade plan. So you need to go into the market with a defined risk, and you need to trade the same way every single time and not deviate that. One of the really big things that really helped me catapult myself to consistency to finally be a profitable trader is to have a minimum goal. So for me personally, I have a minimum goal of 10% every single month. What I do is, by doing that, I have a plan beginning of the month on how I'm going to structure my trades. So then that way, when I hit my minimum goal, I stop. And one of the things that traders really have a problem with is over trading. There's over leveraging and over trading, not knowing when to stop. But if you have that mindset of having a goal and then achieving it, then as a trader, you've done your job that you needed to do that month. You've done what you needed to do. You're profitable. But what happens is, when the over trading comes in, you give that profits back. And then at one point when you were ahead, now you might be ending the month in the negative. And that really disheartens a lot of traders when they don't know when to stop because of over leveraging. And then finally, my advice that I really, really like to tell people is, trade with capital preservation in mind. And what I like to define capital preservation is, protect what you have now before you consider growing it. Say, for instance, AudaCity, the investment that they give into you, you want to protect that first, because then if you lose it, then there's nothing to grow going forward. So capital preservation, protect your investment now before you consider growing this. Then that way, the marathon that is trading will be in the industry long term instead of the short term. So that is my advice that I like to give to people. And any aspiring trader, whether they're experienced or not, it's based on what I've personally gone through my 5 years of trading, and is what that finally got me over the top in order to finally be a successful trader.
I think that is some great advice, and you've worded that really, really well as well. So hopefully, someone who's watching this video in the future or on our channel will definitely take that into account, because that's some great advice. And with that, I think that's everything from me today. So thank you so much for this interview, Alex. It's been lovely hearing your story and hearing about what you're doing. And hopefully, in a few weeks or months, we can catch up again to see how you're doing with the account.
Wonderful. Sounds great.
Perfect. Have a good, I think it's afternoon for you. So have a good
Yes, it is.
afternoon. Yeah.
Yes.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank
See
you.
ya.